Hello, everybody. Welcome to the afternoon panel. And our theme for this afternoon's panel is agriculture and community. We are really happy to first welcome our first speaker, Ms. Yang Hailan, to share her story with us. First, we're going to welcome Ms. Yang Hailan. And first, let me give a short introduction. And my name, as the moderator, my name is Ouyang Wenchang. Excuse me. And our first speaker, Ms. Yang Hailan, started sand control work in 1996. She's led many women in helping to restore grasslands. And in 2001, she led the Women's Development Promotion Association of Yingchuan. And her team has received professional support over the course of the last decade of work. And together, they've created a new pathway for women to help guard and restore the deserts into grasslands. Ms. Yang, in her work, has exemplified her passion for nature and for sustainable development. Let's welcome Ms. Hailan, Ms. Yang Hailan, to the podium. Hello, everyone, dear fellow panelists. Good afternoon. My name is Yang Hailan. I've been in the field of ecological farming since 1996, where I bought a small piece of desert, and I've been working on it for 25 years. And from a complete arid land, and myself from a person who couldn't even distinguish wheat from rice stalks. This whole journey feels like a story from the past, a dream. I'm very, very grateful to Ms. Jiangxi and Peacewomen in China, this platform. I thank them for giving me this platform to share my story with everyone. As a matter of fact, I haven't done anything great, but I think from a grassroots level, from a very basic level, as a female working in agriculture, I think I've made my contribution from being a farmer to sharing technology and techniques, but still, I don't call myself an expert. But I'm willing to share my experience as a practitioner. Since I first was exposed to agriculture, I had visited many teachers and farmers asking for their advice. But when you actually do it yourself, you realize the gap between reality and dream, your aspirations, is large. And so the important thing is really to put it into practice. You have to learn by yourself, learn from other teachers and co-workers. It really is an interdependent industry where you have to engage with all beings. There's a saying that goes, agriculture is an industry where you need to know all kinds of fields in order to take good care of it. As an individual, your power is very small. And as modern people, if we can inherit these traditional practices from ancient Chinese farmer, if we can summarize them and improve on their basis, it will already be a great piece of work that we have done. I'm very grateful to my sisters, my team, my collaborators. Thank you for allowing me to have this opportunity to embark on this journey. Thank you to Mother Nature for rewarding me with so much nourishment. A lot of us often say, Mother Earth, our land is so amazing. As long as you are willing to work hard, it will give us back what you cannot imagine. Even if you just planted one seed of bean, it will give you back more than 100 beans. And who do we give these to? We will receive some, and we will give some back to nature. And this is the harmonious state between us and nature. However, in modern agriculture, we only, as farmers, a lot of us only care for efficiency and the yield, and we want to produce as much as possible. But if you think about it, there's only so much we can get from a piece of land. When we really have this much yield, do we really eat them all? No, because some we sell them to customers, and some actually go into waste. Besides, birds will eat some, and worms eat some. The actual amount that you can sell and get returns for, if you have half of them, is already very fortunate. In my work, what I want to tell people is that we as humans are too greedy. We are too greedy. We should not go beyond our needs and ask for more than what we need. We want to have an environment that's happy. We want to have an earth that's happy. And if earth is happy, we will receive happy foods and we will become happy people as well. These are some of the experiences I want to share with you all. I don't have much experience in agriculture, but I want to convey these ideas. These wisdom from generations of farmers, I want to pass them down to people in my immediate surroundings, in my team, and be able to innovate on their basis. And if I can do that, that'll already be great. Let's take this mushroom as an example. In the past, this type of fungus only existed in the south. And people told me that it's impossible to grow these in the north. But my teacher, Ms. Yang, and experts from her farm school, because the goji berries, are very hard to grow in our region, in Ningxia. But we developed a method to turn these goji berries into a new product that allows us to grow this type of mushrooms. It gave us this very unique product. our goji berry mushroom, which is the name of this kind, it's sold to Japan, Hong Kong, across the borders. A lot of customers have enjoyed our mushroom, and it's a result of our collective brainstorming. And these mushrooms are especially enjoyed by customers from southern China. And why are they so popular? It's because of our technique. It's because of our climate. Our technique allowed us to grow mushrooms in such environments that are not suitable for growing mushrooms. And these other two mushrooms are also new products that we developed. And these were never thought of, imagined of by people in the past in terms of growing mushrooms in the north of China. We also have a smart greenhouse where we can grow these other crops that are commonly available in southern China. So in an era of technology, there's no border. We are all living on this global, we're all living in this global village. We can grow different kinds of crops in areas where we hadn't imagined the possibility of growing, with techniques that's no longer a dream, but it requires us, all our female farmers, to collaborate together. And another question we've been engaged in is how do we organize, how do we mobilize female farmers and workers to grow? And it is in our experience that 80% of our workers are female workers. And on a daily basis, if we have 5 people, 4 out of them would be women. And when we are in immediate need of workers, we usually also are only able to find women, which is why I think in the past in China, we say Chinese women are holding half of the sky, but now I think it's about 2/3 of the sky are held up by women. So this era, I believe, is the era of women leading agriculture. And it's the first, and it's women who are leading the frontier of agriculture. So I'm really, really grateful. And I also strongly believe that Peacewomen in China and Female Development Promotion Association can lead more women to become independent, not just independent women, but also who can lead these initiatives to empower more people and empower not just women, but also men. And of course, we also have men, we have male participants. And I have to say that our team's wisdom has gone beyond a lot of people who are working in the field. So I really am very grateful for my team, because I could not have done any of this by myself. So I'll just offer my words. I wonder if fellow panelists have questions to ask. So I feel a bit nervous and also excited. There's so much to share. In a word, we've come from working without plans, improvising on the go, to now having a clear structure, having clear organization, to knowing very clearly our goals. We've come a long way. And we are dedicated to developing high quality and high efficiency products for our customers. We want to offer the best products to our families, our friends, especially now during the pandemic. Our people's curiosity and enthusiasm for healthy agricultural products, for food, has increased significantly. And right now, my products usually go towards my regular CSA customers. And they sell out very quickly. And we only have a small amount. So, which is why I hope there will be more people joining us in growing healthy foods so that more people are able to enjoy them. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Yang Hailan. She's pointed out the key to our health is healthy foods. And we also hope that more female leaders will be able to lead us forward in agriculture, and we hope we can keep supporting them.
So our next speaker, Shuxia, she's from Shanxi, and she took the lead in culture and production in the village, organized the Li Jiazhuang Women's Association. She established a rural women's a rural women's association and a cooperative. And she was selecting into the list of 1008 Peacewomen in China. And currently, she's the deputy director of Kangdali Peer Cooperative, and also a member, also administrator of the village cultural station. She has took the Chinese University entrance exam 5 times. She told us that I have to change the situation, and someone has written essays on Miss Wang. Yeah, and so welcome, Shuxia. Yeah, now we can hear her. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm from Shanxi. I am a very normal peasant woman. I'm not as higher class as what I was described. At the beginning, I'm from the villages where we were very poor, and as I was into my getting my early 20s, and it was even difficult for me to find a husband. And because I'm short and I am not that pretty, but I was very certain that I have to marry to that village. Yeah, even though I didn't get myself into university, but I have read a lot of books, and That's where I started to change the landscape, the agriculture of the village. Because they can see my income, my revenue has increased in my project. And that is why they all want to come and learn from me. And my achievement in agriculture also sent me to the city, and I got more and more famous, and I even was my story was told in books and in magazines, and I was so proud that in such a big country, media pay such attention to my story. So since 1997, because I went to I went to Beijing. I was invited to participate in training of co-respondents of Peasant Woman magazine. Yeah, and since then, after the trip in Beijing, I started to use a lot of manure as fertilizers. So we gave up a chemical fertilizer since then. So I was in 2003. I went to I got to learn from like Professor Wen, and I was invited into a seminar with many people from around the world. So I learned how to turn pig manure and human manure into biogas, and I received some fundings from Professor Wen to put this biogas into our village, so that in my village we started to have this biogas for cooking, and also for our fertilizers. And the residue of the biogas, we return them into the ground so that the soil could be softened. And later on, we founded a cooperative to have women on board. We help women peasants to sell the pears to the market, which we can increase the prices. And also we organize some cultural activities with women, and we taught them how to have this inner development. I believe culture is a key to develop ourselves, even though we are raised in village, in rural area. But I believe the soil is our mother, is our teacher. As one seed could multiply hundredfold and thousandfold. And I really appreciate Peacewomen in China, the organization, and teachers like Kimchi also visited us, and we can connect with other women around China. And later on, I motivate women to take part in politics. And someone asked me, what is missing in the village? I said that, well, it's not about money, but it's about knowledge. I was donated to some books, which I could be able to read a lot. So I share my experience, founded this magazine on for peasant women. So I organized a lot of trainings in the magazine. Was subscribed 3,000 times, and also children and adults, they all read these magazines, which increase the population of readers, and so that people won't spend too much time in other activities. Well, I'm also very active in our cultural in our cultural performance or activities. I have been visited a lot of village. And I realize the peasant women have a lot of potential. So if you give us a fruit, if you give us a seed, well, you can have the fruit in your whole life. So this is kind of like the spirit of us, peasant women. We love to help others, to be altruists, and we care for minority group, we care for children, we care for people who are in margin. 2019, I even attended this slow food conference, and I followed Professor Wang, and I have been spending my time in a lot of cultural activities, in sharing our experience, in helping peasant women. And we know that we can also become a party members to also contribute a lot. So my leads and a lot of them try to become a party member, and they are all taking a lead in a lot of party activities, even though we are not very even though our salaries are not high. To give an example, one of the peasant women, yeah, she had an accident. I have been helping her families. There are a lot of accidents or things like this in the village, and yeah, and have helped them in selling the apples. And I always motivate them that even though your husband has passed away, but you need to keep going. There's always hope in life. So this is the way I help the peasant women. Yeah, even though we are very normal, very common, but I feel like we are all very outstanding. They have done much better job than me. They care for children's elderly. They send love to every household. So our work, even though it looks very very minor, but yeah, people say that you have done such a good job, and thanks for Professor Wang and Kimchi. They have been leading the way so that we have the courage to work together with peasant women to contribute in rural reconstruction and rural revitalization. Yeah, so I think my time's up. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. Okay. So I have 20 plus mu. I have written a book and published some articles on newsletters, and especially in our Women Presence magazine. We are influenced other life with our own life. I believe our growth could change one household, as one very famous writer said. Yes, she has. So please slow down in your speech. So, and I feel that to change, if we change one woman, she could change 3 generations, because she can raise her children and also take care of the parents. So there are a lot of responsibilities on present woman's shoulder. So as we have learned from our presidency, the family value, the family culture is very important. So we can first change ourselves so that we can change many people, from one seed to one forest. With all the sisters, they have done such a good job, and I am, yeah, we are kind of the pioneer or the key pillar in this rural reconstruction movement. Yeah, I used to be in very low self-esteem, but later on, I feel like still we also have many ideas, thoughts. We also want to change the world. We can just act together. We can just put on actions. Yeah, so now we become like a good army for rural reconstruction. No longer just being a housewife, taking up all the household work, but can still playing such an important work, a job in the village development, cultural development. Yeah, and wherever, whichever village has this peasant woman, there will be more refresh air or some very we have been taking up a lot of important roles in the village life. Yeah, offering many activities. Yeah, so thanks, Shuxia. Yeah, they plays a role as a seed, and they have planted a forest. This grassroots work as a very normal woman on the grassroots. But their spirit is very important. So next one. Next one, Hualian.
Now let's welcome our third speaker, Ms. Wang Hualian. She is from Wanzai County, Jiangxi Province, and she's a member of the Women's Mutual Aid Credit Union of Wanzai County. And currently, she is the president of Women's Federation Yongxin. She is the president of Women's Federation in Yongxin village in her hometown. And since the federation was founded in 1994, Ms. Wang Hualian and her co-workers have started a new industry based on processing dried lily flowers. And she started this industry to encourage women in rural China to gain financial independence. And she once wrote an article in which she believed that in order to promote sustainable development in rural Chinese villages, one must have to start from community development and from training of volunteers and inviting different parts of the village to participate in this collective effort. Now let's welcome Ms. Wang Hualian to the podium to tell us her story. Dear fellow participants and sisters, good afternoon. My name is Wang Hualian. I was a volunteer teacher back in 1994 when I chose to go to Jiangxi province to Wanzai County. And then I became a member of Women's Mutual Aid Credit Union. We were led by Ms. Jianzhi. We were trying to encourage farmers in the village to adopt organic farming practices. And we know it was not making money to work in agriculture, but we could still try to transform our own bodies by growing healthy food. And in 1994, I became president of Women's Federation in Yongxin village. And even though I'm not a person who has got a lot of education, in 2008, I became a member of Women's Mutual Aid Credit Union. I gathered a group of people, of about 7 and 8 people. I started a troupe where we can perform at different occasions, such as funerals or weddings, perform traditional songs and dances. And because in the last 6 years, especially, it's been across the country where we're pushing for poverty alleviation. And I was part of this project, and there was a lot of work to do. We are a county under the poverty line. In Baishui County, we have 7 villages that are marked under the poverty line. And we've received government aid to build roads, to build houses for the villages, to support children's education. These are all part of my work. It is really busy to work to alleviate poverty. And our village finally was lifted out of the poverty list since last year. In our old saying, we've lifted up to another level. We had lots of volunteers who made this happen. who helped us make this happen. And now in our village, we have public playground. And we also have janitors and people who are assigned to transport the garbage. And every week we conduct inspections on the hygienity in the village and make sure people are not littering in areas where they're not supposed to litter. And whenever we have to carry out these inspections, we always get help from our volunteers. And especially for families who are especially in need and families who have members of their family who are disabled, then we also engage our volunteers to help. And we also have children volunteers who we encourage them to come pick up trash with us during their summer vacations. And because it's a mountainous region where we live, especially in the spring, it's very rainy. Like in June, we had over 20 days of rain. And when we get so much rain, it's really easy to have landslides. So we reported this situation to the local government and we asked the volunteers to come with their tools to help clear up the roads because it was blocking transportation channels. And in addition, we have another government. For example, if someone got into a car accident, how do we respond to emergencies like this? For example, we learn about what are the first steps to take if such a situation were to happen, how do we check whether the person is still alive, we check for their, and we call the police or the ambulance. Or how do we perform first aid procedures, how to stop blood. Because we know that in emergencies like these, the first few minutes are so crucial. So we learn about all these first aid practices in order to help the patient. We also get trained in helping the patient to feel relaxed if this were to happen. If we tell them, oh, it's impossible, we can't save you, then it won't change the situation. But if we could use a calmer attitude to help them, then it might offer a possibility for life. And another area in which we work is to help stay-at-home children. For example, during national holidays, we would ask their parents or guardians to bring them to our center, and we teach them to sing, we play games with them, or we offer them free physical examinations, or we have volunteers to help them make a phone call to their parents, or we play games where we So they get to guess the answers to questions, the trivia games. And also, on a more frequent basis, every month we go visit all the households in our village. And during the summer vacations, every month we have to visit them twice. And especially during the summer times, we're especially concerned for drowning cases in the village. So our home visits during the summer, one of our foci is to teach about water safety. And we also have volunteers. We have volunteers who are stationed by the lakes. We have 4 in our village. And these 4 people do get paid, and while the other participants are volunteers. And we also get help from the police station. We have policemen who come and patrol to make sure children are not using water unsafely. If we do notice a case where it's potentially dangerous, we will visit their homes and talk to the parents. We also ask them to sign a promise letter to protect their own safety. We go to their schools to ask them. Because in the past, it's happened before where we had children, unfortunately, died from drowning. And one thing that came out of these efforts is each village recently got 100,000 yuan to build a swimming pool in each village so that to prevent children from swimming in the river. And in winter, when it gets cold, our volunteers would make breakfast and send them to the elderly, to the empty nest elderly people who are not able to travel easily or walk easily. And in addition, during the major festivals in China, such as Dragon Boat Festival or National Holiday or Mid-Autumn Festival, we will also make snacks and food to send to these elderly. At Dragon Boat Festival, we would make rice dumplings. This year, we bought more than 50 kilograms of glutinous rice, and we made rice dumplings for these people, for these elderly and for the children. And also for the elderly who live at senior homes. And because these elderly people don't have other family or they themselves are not able to make food for themselves, our volunteer team often makes delicious food at different times during the year from seasonal ingredients for them. And we also, besides giving them food, we also put on performances for them, providing them with music and dances. And in the summer times, we often visit them at their homes. And we each bring a bag of delicacies, and we often see them smile in reaction. And a lot of the stay-at-home elderly people. They don't pay too much attention to their clothes. Sometimes they're old, or so besides food, our volunteer association, one of our leaders, she owns a pharmacy, and so he put out 2 cardboard boxes in front of her pharmacy and asked people to donate their spare clothes for children and the elderly. And here, because in our village, we have farmers markets on the 3rd, 6th, and 9th of the month. And we would also bring these donations to the market. So right now, our main job and responsibilities have been to help these stay-at-home children and elderly people. And especially those who have special conditions, whether it's poverty or illness, whoever is in need of special help, our volunteers will start a crowdfunding initiative or donate to them out of their own pockets. We have one volunteer. We have one member who discovered she had breast cancer. Even though she had done chemotherapy, it came back. She had had 2 marriages. She has a son who's 10 years old and a mother who's in her 80s. Our volunteers, after we heard about her situation, our volunteer team started crowdfunding for her. And we have volunteers who offered her own home for her son to stay at, and also other volunteers offered to pick him up and take him to school for free every day. So we offer such special care to people who need them. And over the last few years, we are having more and more college graduates working here, and our offices have also gotten larger. So now we have better facilities, and during the summers, we offer free lessons for stay-at-home children. And every day we have 2 volunteers who rotate and be at the center. And we have college graduates who are volunteers, or college students who voluntarily come here to offer lessons and presentations and their company to these stay-at-home children. And we have elderly people who are immobile and who cannot therefore grow their own vegetables. And they'll tell our volunteers in the village, and then we will reach out to our network of volunteers. For example, we'll hear, oh, so-and-so has difficulties with growing their food. And so a lot of us will see this post and decide to go help them. And a lot of elderly people have remarked, oh, it's so great to have such technologies these days. We can make our needs known so quickly. We can call people, as long as they call us, they let us know, we will send them, if they are in need of medical help, as long as they call us, we will give them a free ride to the hospitals in the city. And And seeking medical help has been a difficulty for these stay-at-home elderly people. So one other service we offer is to bring doctors to the villages and offer free examinations, especially for those who have chronic diseases. Another thing is the pandemic. And when it first started 3 years ago, our county was heavily hit. But for us, working at the Federation in the village, we didn't have a break during the pandemic. We mobilized members of the Women's Federation. We mobilized them to come every single day, to go into the village every single day, and tell the villagers to maintain social distance and to take their temperatures. Because a lot of times villagers might not understand what we're saying. We would all go together as a group. We would tell them, because of the pandemic, we all have to protect ourselves and each other. Normally, it's very safe here in the mountains where we are, but if one were to bring the virus here, then it would be a disaster for everyone. So later, we gave every household a thermometer to teach them how to use it, to take their temperatures every single day and report them. If we discover someone with a fever, then we would immediately send them to the county hospital. And therefore, because of the pandemic, because we have a lot of villagers who go outside to go to other provinces for works because of their traveling. We've seen the virus coming back again and again, and so it's made our work very heavy and busy. And another big part of our work is to promote the dried lily flower industry, because here our soil is here in our climate, we have to rotate every 3 years. Each year we plant the lily flowers, we have to let it rest for 3. Because we have a lot of migrant workers who have left, it's really hard for us to find people to grow these organic lily flowers. Because of the labor shortage, it's really expensive to hire workers. Because we live in the mountains, because we live in the mountainous regions, what we eat and what we grow, 90% of it is organic, and we're self-sufficient. And because we don't have a lot of land, if you grow too much, then a lot of it goes into waste. It goes to animals, and if there's still more, it goes into waste. Because in the villages, every household grows their own food. If we grow too much, then we think it's a waste. And this year in Laoshan village, there's a couple who went into their fields, who was on their ways to his field to look at his crops, and then got into a car accident, and he broke, and the husband unfortunately passed right away during the accident, and the wife broke 10 of her ribs. And so we heard this situation, and the federation, the credit union, and the village government officials started crowdfunding together, and we were able to gather about 70,000 Chinese yuan, and we sent it to the family. And there are 4 children left behind in that household, with a mom, with a mother in deep injury, and a father who passed away. So we are especially offering our care to these 4 children. Because we work in the villages, we work on a communal level. My job is usually, it has many, many parts. Every quarter, we perform free physical examinations for the elderly, especially those who have chronic conditions such as high blood pressure or diabetes or paralysis. And we have doctors for these, and we have doctors who come every week to visit families who were under poverty line to make sure that they are receiving decent care. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Wang Hualian. She talked about how the credit union was able to lead the women in the village to come out of poverty and gain financial independence. And we're amazed by all these women panelists. We've heard from Ms. Yang Hailan, who led a team of women who were unemployed to turn a desert into a forest.
So I would like to introduce our next speaker couldn't make it, but I want to share one of her a quote. If we can be a happy woman, that would be very helpful for village and also for the peace of the world. So Peacewomen, if we can be in solidarity and yeah, that would be a key for the world. Sorry that this speaker couldn't make it today. Okay, so and we are gonna go into Q&A. So we have a question in the chat box. raised by someone from Malaysia. So, and you can all read the questions. So how we can motivate indigenous villagers to take on farming, even when they have no idea of the benefit of small-scale farming. We have nearly 100 women in the village, yet only a few end up working with us. So what you have done to motivate them? I think it's a very good question. In my opinion, I think in such an environment, when they don't have this motivation, because they have no idea they could produce like new products, new methodology, using new methodologies, the change that could be possible. When they can see the possibility of changes, they would change their mindset. Yeah, because we were used to really rely on the weather, especially agriculture. So before, even though we couldn't harvest anything, we can still have subsidy from the government. And they kind of accept it as their destiny. That, oh, well, what can I do? That's it. Yeah, but when when we are doing all this kind of work, we always wonder when we should open our world or to change our mindset before we can step out. And it turns out that it's important to open the window, open the world for us. They can see new things and they know they kind of embody the changes, embody the new perspective. So that very naturally, after they go back to the village, they will change immediately because they have experienced something profoundly different. Yeah, they see the examples, they can see it, they examine it, and they can become the change themselves. Yeah, so they will change their belief, change their knowledge, change their perception. Yeah, once I introduce yum in our village, and it's not a common crop for us, and not a common vegetable, but we have done it quite well. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, when people feel like okay, they have a good harvest and they can earn some money, increase their living quality, so they will just take it out without you nudging them. Yeah, when you lead a good life, they can see it. So slowly and slowly they will change. Yeah, so it takes time or a few generations to change. Yeah, even decades, a few decades, hundreds years so, for us to change our value, our perception, yeah, our knowing, our knowledge system. Yeah, so in my project, we have been like a pioneer in my region. Always introduce new crops and always to earn money, to improve our skills, and then they become the leader themselves. I think this is what I want to share with you according to my experience. To use some scientific method so we can impart new knowledge, scientific method, and they can take them out, pick it up, and just pass on the skills and technique so they could also do the good job. Okay, next one. Yeah, please turn off your mic when you are not speaking. Otherwise, we can hear some noises. So next one, Shuxia. Yeah, please speak slower. So it's a very good question. So add on the previous speaker, I would like to share how we motivate women. At the beginning, it's just by singing and dancing. Women, they love what they love to do. Yeah, so we just organize around the theme that they enjoy. So from dancing, singing, and along the way. So I organized some cultural activities. And then I invite some experts, agricultural experts, invite them to our village and share their expertise. So I also take the women out to other cities to open their world. Otherwise, they would be just stuck in such a tiny place in their own small circle. So once they open their heart, open their will, so they have a very strong motivation to improve themselves. So sometimes I use a very good like fluent Chinese. Yeah, and they say, wow, you can speak a very fluent Chinese. So I also want to learn that. I also want to improve my language skills. Want to be, yeah, always want to improve and change. And yeah, and by dancing and singing, they also have more confidence. So it's not that we motivate or we organize from the beginning. Yeah, of course, there's not that you can find someone who is really good at motivating and organizing. There must be like a leader to 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 motivate people. Yeah, this is like my experience. I just take them out, or I take experts in. So open their heart, open their horizon. Yeah, at the beginning, no one really cared, but at the end, they're just not enough space for them. They are just too active. Yeah, I said I can thank you, and I want to add one more thing to you. How do you start your cooperative? Have you had any challenges? So at the beginning, it's a women's association. So after we have motivated women, and some men will also like to join, that is kind of the timing when we feel like, okay, right, now it's time for cooperative. Yeah, so we just invest some money together. So it's not just about one individual. There were at the end like 70 households. We put some money in. We in the evening we gather around and just have a lot of conversations and discussions on how we can improve the yield, how we can improve our agricultural technique. Yeah, so at the beginning we make it very clear on the forefront that it's not good to use chemical fertilizer. So we also invite experts to come to teach us. We build this maps project. Yeah, and once our fruit, the quality of the fruit is very good, then customer comes and attract attention from the officials. Yeah, it's like we are entering into a time when we just care for each other. Life becomes much better. Yeah, if we set cooperative, there's not like this solidarity in our village, and our life won't be improved as much. So I think that it's good to change ourselves and then we change others, and that's it. Simple. Thank you. So maybe next one, Hualian. Thank you. So at the beginning, in 1994, the quality of the soil was quite low. And when you have some money, you have some money in your hand. Yeah, a lot of the villagers are illiterate. Yeah. So what they can do is just use their physical talent. So I also organized some activities. First of all, to have something to do and then to earn some money. So in order to increase our esteem, we need to have some savings. Yeah, especially in the village. If we don't have savings as women, we will be looked down upon. Yeah, a lot of the physical workers are women, and men mainly work in agricultural. And with women, we don't work a lot on this heavy physical work. Our volunteer association, there are not much women, not much men. We also want to see how others are doing. There was by working on this kind of work, volunteer work, and it's good to increase our confidence so that we know we are capable of doing something, of handling some work. Have you had any challenges in forming this cooperative? Yeah, of course. At the beginning, and there were many men. Yeah, there's some at the beginning when men wanted to join, there were some women that hesitated because they were afraid that men might take up their work. Since some men had like a domestic abuse, and so there were some conflict between men and women. Yeah, but recent year, this kind of incidents are not that much. Yeah, I just want to ask them, if your daughter, when she marries someone, her husband beat her up, what would you think? Yeah, so men will start to kind of reflect on themselves. Yeah, so we have kind of solved a lot of such conflict by sharing of our thoughts. Our village, when because we grow food, go grow vegetables. So if some people, they might have difficulties in growing their own food, so we will help them out. Yeah, if I have some extra, I would just share with others, with food, with all kind of thing. Yeah, if I don't want to just waste it, I want to help it up. I want to kind of just to share. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is kind of the culture in the village. So I wonder, there's one question for Hailan. Could you share with us your experience in this working in certification management and agriculture? So my land, even though it's in a desert area, it is by the edge of a city. So the sand, this desert in my area, so my area, the desert, has been like for 1,000 years old because of the sand, the wind from Helan mountain. So in the morning, one of the speakers share about her experience in this desert management, and so I am to the north and she's to the south. And I'm very close to the cities. It's at the border of with the cities. They are like 200,000 of the desert. So in our area, it's actually very rich because of there's water irrigation. So it's comparably speaking, dealing with the desert problem is easier. So so we have been doing this for 25 years, from desert to oasis. This kind of project, we have like good conditions to work on these issues, but because but the irrigation system is not as easy and as before, and also the cost is a bit higher. Yeah, and we use some new technique to save water to increase the efficiency of irrigation. Learn from like Israel and other developed countries, so that we can grow a lot of root vegetables, like and also vegetables to support our desert agricultural production. And we also have grapes, corn. We can also like grow some corn. Because of all these conditions, we started we have like greenhouse. We also have greenhouse.
We have experts from our local farm schools, teachers, and specialists. And the different facilities we're able to build, such as the smart greenhouse, we are utilizing its natural water sources. With all this technical help, we're able to maximize the use of our local resources. And so now we're also transitioning. We're also in a transition in our industry, in the selection of our crops. We're trying to select the highest quality and crops that are most suitable for this soil, and to develop a more mature supply chain. And this supply chain is almost complete. It might take another year for us to completely perfectionize it. We will be able to accumulate data in the future and share with everyone what kind of crops have the best selling effects for us and can bring the most income to us. And the female workers in our organization, the highest monthly pay is 7,000 yuan, and in a year, it's about 10,000 RMB. Because we've developed these techniques, and we also offer trainings, and in fact, I started a school. We call it the Future Think Tank School for Ningchuan City. We are here to provide skill trainings, vocational trainings for the villagers. And once we give them these hard skills, these villagers will gain a sense of self-satisfaction and fulfillment. And our farmer, our villager, these days, if they work on small projects, they can earn up to 300 yuan each day. We no longer call them farmer workers or physical laborers, but we call them a new type of agricultural workers who are licensed, who have these skills so that they will feel self-fulfilled. They'll feel, oh, not only do I have the skills, the knowledge, but that I'm capable to perform these tasks. And right now, the income gap between women and men in our region has come to be very, very small. And we also notice that once females are exposed to more skills, once they get training, there's not much difference between how they're able to work as to men. But if you are specialized in a special skill, we don't treat women and men differently in their income. But right now, we are in need. We still have a high need for really skilled, this new type of agricultural workers that I talked about. All of our vegetables, such as radishes, Chinese yams. Our supply chains has been very specialized. So each crop, in order to grow them well, it takes technique, it takes skill and experience. So that's why we call these laborers, these workers, a new generation of farm workers, and we treat them at a higher standing, and we empower them with skills. because that's what our new industry needs. And especially for women, after they've gained these skills when they go home, it's like they've gone through an entire transformation. Besides that, we also do processing, such as with these mushrooms, we turn them into chutneys. We have these women to participate in all these different sections of the production. So we are here to cultivate well-rounded talents. And what we say in Chinese saying, you can either perform in the kitchens, but you can also perform in the fields. Not only can I grow vegetables, but I can also make beautiful, delicate food. So we help these women, but also not just women, to gain these skills and to practice them in real life. And we adapt our trainings programs to timely needs from the society. We follow the market. What people like to eat, we will try to grow them well. What people are interested in, we try to teach them. And whatever we grow, we share with each other. And whichever one gets tested well in the market, then we keep that. And those ones that are not working well, we throw them out as a protocol, and we throw them out as a prototype and develop new products. So we often try out all these different experiments and discuss with one another which ones are the most popular. And so naturally, our customers and our growers, we've come together as a family, and everyone feels very warm to be part of this, to be part of our WeChat group. And whoever comes to our land, they feel at home. Our members in our CSA program, they come and they know where the keys are. And they go for the products themselves, they take care of their needs. And they tell me, Ms. Hailan, I've gathered these things and take a look. And I'll say to them, no, I don't need to take a look. And you can get me how much you'd like to pay for these foods. And they'll reply to me saying, I really feel at home whenever I come here. And I can't believe this still, when we can just make ourselves at home in this way. It's as if a story coming out of a book. But of course, we sometimes still get customers who would like chefs, would like us to serve them as the chefs. And at our center, we have garbages separated into compostable ones and non-compostable ones. And we've also taught the customers to identify which ones go where. And our Chinese yams, I can proudly say that our Chinese yams sell the best in the entire Ningxia province. Our old customers buy Chinese yam from us, and I sell them to these customers at our lowest price, and they would still come for us. Whereas a regular Chinese yam selling at the supermarket is way cheaper, but our customers will still choose our products. And some of them might say, I can't afford to buy such good ingredients. They're too expensive for me. And I will say to them, well, come join us and work with us, and you can exchange food with your labor. And the countryside is a place where people can return to nature. And so I hope there can be more integration between the city and the village. But for us, because we are still a bit far away from the city, it is hard for us to really strive for the integration with those who live in the city. But it's a direction in which we continue to strive for. We hope to develop this supply chain into a more mature model so that we can help everyone to gain more material prosperity.
全部是人工除草，每年1-2万的人工除草，大家看得见，所以他也愿意。
And every year we give out more than 20,000 yuan to hire people to cut down the grass instead of using herbicides. Because land, after all, is a non-recyclable resource. I believe it's a small-scale farming. For my ability, I can't experiment on a larger scale, but I'll try my best in my resources. We have a question now. We now have a question towards Shuxia, Ms. Shuxia. Could you please talk about how in your village the villager cooperative was formed and whether you've encountered obstacles? Thank you for the questions. First cooperative we formed was a pig cooperative, but it quickly backfired because it was too expensive. But then we turned into cooperatives growing pears. In the beginning, we were trying to give out advanced techniques in organic farming, such as not using pesticides. Because Professor Wen Tiejun, for example, come to our village, and we wanted to try these new techniques and good techniques. But in the beginning, I stopped using pesticides in my household, but other people were still using pesticides. And then these sprays will still get carried into my crops and still affected my produce. And I only got 10% of my promised yield. And we didn't get much income that year. And this was the difficulty and reality I faced. It's because we weren't unified at the time. Like Professor Wen said, we must leave behind a promising land for our future generations. So that's why we insist on not using pesticides now. And our soil now is very soft. It used to be very, very hard to grow food in. And we've noticed differences in ones that are organically grown. The organic crops, their leaves are lush and thick. And we've also done experiments, comparisons between crops grown with and without pesticides. And we invited the villagers, the farmers themselves, to compare, and they realized that the ones grown inorganically, in fact, taste much worse than the ones grown organically. And that's how people were convinced to start adopting organic practices. And we tell people that even though it seems like you can earn more when you use pesticides, but it's also true that you pay more money to the hospitals when you do so. Why is that? In the past, we used to have much fewer cases of fatal diseases or terminal diseases. And our teachers also tell us we must have grass and straws and not to use herbicides or pesticides. And so gradually our farmers started to unify on the same front. But it took a long time for that to happen. Over the years, we took our experts, our teachers with us to the fields and observed our crops. And our customers too have been very loyal to our crops. They will only choose our products as opposed to farmers' products who haven't joined the cooperative. We say if we only care about our own self-interest and don't care about communal or common interests, then our road is not long. Thank you, Ms. Hualian. There's another question to you. I heard that a lot of the work and projects in your village were done voluntarily. People don't get paid. How did you organize people? Well, for us in the beginning, we only had a few people. We helped people when we heard there were special cases, people who were in need of special help. And we know that if we have one more person, we'll have even more power. And we have the president of our volunteer association. She would encourage us and say, well, you volunteer for us, we don't pay you. Are you still going to work for us? And we would reply, yes, we are here to be volunteers. And wherever needs help, those of us who are available will stand up. Because we all feel that if we help other people, if we're able to help other people solve their problems, we feel really happy. We feel very satisfied and more relaxed. If we weren't able to solve their problems, then we feel worried and keep thinking about the situation. What should we do? How can we help them? Who should we send to help them? Well, we need different people to join us. We need money from people who do have money, but we also need people who can volunteer their time or their physical strength. So it doesn't matter. As long as you can offer what you can do, that's what's important. For us, it's to help other people makes us feel happy. Last year, there was a elderly person from the senior home who couldn't speak. And he had a stomach ache one night, and he left the senior home himself at night in the winter, and he didn't come back even after it got dark. And so we were told that we need at least 60 volunteers to help find the person. And what happened was 200 volunteers turned out, and we went all across the mountains to look for the elderly person. And because he couldn't hear us, even if we yelled, so we had to walk. And he couldn't find his way home. But we were able to find him eventually. And we searched until 10 o'clock into the night.
平淡的那个生活，因为我们这里本身什么，你像我们那个在村里面，我们生活费，我们就是1000多块钱一个月，1000多块钱天天要来上班。
And for us, we only get paid 1,000 yuan each month. But for us, it's not about money, and we don't even get weekends because it's so busy. So to sum up, we don't have the ability to earn money or earn more money, but we have the ability to help people around us. A lot of problems, it's not a matter of money. And because we live in a relatively closed-up mountainous region, most people, we don't earn too much, so we're not too sensitive about this issue. It's only a few households whose children have left our home, have left the village to study, or the parents have left to work outside, but most of us stay here. If we have a family that's particularly poor, we have government aid to help them build the house. Because we are a county below the poverty line, every time we conduct inspections, if we find out that a household doesn't have a bathroom or a house, or so-and-so has 4 children, but his income is below a certain line, then we will make sure they get on government aid and make sure that they can take care of their basic needs. So because we don't go out much, it was only with Ms. Jianzhi that I was able to go out and see the outside world just a little bit. Most of us have a very limited worldview. We live a simple life. We don't have high standards for our way of living. So that's what I want to share. Thank you so much.
你们在村里有酗酒的情况吗？
So someone raised the question in the chat box. Do you have this issue with alcohol in the village? So in my village, we have a lot of fruit trees like a peach, grape, date, vegetables. Yes, it's kind of like the villagers here are quite like nice, kind. and we are like a migrant village. People are migrating here to our village. So they just mainly focus on agriculture. So one of the agricultural households, the annual income is as high as 1 million. Okay, so next speakers, could you share with us? No, there's no alcoholism, especially women. Of course, men, when they have gatherings, have parties, they would drink. Yeah, and also because the law forbids if you want to drive, you cannot have alcohol, and there were car accidents. So yeah, it's not an issue in our village. So the third speaker, yeah, I would say there are a few, like 2 or 3 people every day. You can see them drinking or smells with alcohol. Yeah, and they like fighting, and they are in their mid-40s. Yeah, also there are some people that they are yeah, and there's cases that people who love drinking alcohol, they tend to have very unhealthy lifestyles. So and 2 even passed away last month. So bad examples. So originally we have the 4th speaker, but because she's going to she is attending agricultural conference, so she cannot attend these forums. So I just want to share her stories, might not as correct as it would be. So Xu Jiying, she's a chairman and a technical director of Camellia technology company. Do you know camellia? It is like the flower of a camellia plant, which used to be treated as a compost. And Miss Shi's research shows her that camellia has a very high nutritional value. So since then, she commit herself to this camellia plant and research. So camellia research has won a lot of national patents and has been supported by the government, because this camellia flower can not only make tea, but also you can be turned into snack, into skincare products. And most importantly, Miss Chi selected camellia project in those mountainary areas, especially those poor areas. And she taught local farmers to plant them and how to harvest. It has not only increased the income of local farmers, but also increased their self-esteem and dignity. Miss Shi is kind of in her like elderly stage, but she's still busy technique and also across the country. So thank you. So because the time is almost at 5, and we really admire your work a lot, and you really speak the truth for Peacewomen China. You have your own capacity to solve the problem. You are able to motivate others. You are willing to serve the community. Thank you all your stories, and it really touched our heart. It really changed our next generation. If we have chance, we can live our life according to our dream, we can really make a better future. Thank you. So Kimchi, do you want to speak a few words? Thank you. Thank you, our three speakers. Like in 2005, we had worked with an organization from Switzerland. So we nominate 108 peace women. And we nominate these 108 peace women. And today's women, they are part of the women that were nominated to be a women's group to won the Nobel Peace Prize. So we were very touched to listen to your stories. So we had organized some interviews. So 2 decades has passed. So you are still really committed to your work. And Hailan, she used to be a little girl, well, ladies, but now you can tell they have grown into very mature and very grounded, very hardworking to see in their village life, in their village work. So we would share the value and commit ourselves very humble, even though with a very high spirit. So thank you all.